Hello everyone, welcome back. We're going to continue where we left off, which is placing our units, our generator units and the gather unit, as well as our structural wall. We're going to start off with a generator unit and gather unit. We're going to place them towards the side of the mainframe depository. And we're going to do this because, as you saw before, we kept switching where the connections were happening from the assembly depot to the other ones. So we're going to place it over here. Actually, we're going to place our generator unit here so that there's one less connection that needs to happen. So we'll have this thing attached either permanently to the assembly depot or to the mainframe, and have another one switch back and forth. But at least if it's over here, our generator unit, then we can actually stretch it further to the left. We're going to see afterwards, we're going to actually unlock some generator extensions. Now these are a little bit less than the generator unit. They provide less power, but they do give an added boost, and they are not they do not need to be connected to the gather units as well. As you can see, the generator unit has to be connected to the gather unit. So we're going to place the generator unit down at the bottom here, and we're going to place another gather unit right in front. So those will be placed, that's going to be prepared, and at the same time we're going to go into our structure, and there's our structural barrier, the one that we created. We will be creating more of these, but for now we're going to take this one, and actually I already have in mind the place where I'm going to put it. If you recall, way at the beginning we had our area which is closed off, so we needed to create a little tunnel. There's a little path here, so I'm going to create an extra little barrier to make it slightly more difficult for the enemy as they come. So you can see there's the entrance where the enemy would have to come in to take everybody on. So I'm actually going to block it off down here, and you can see that means that they have to come from above. So when the enemy does come, I can have my defenders sitting inside to create a mini ambush in there. So that might be necessary for the second round. As I said, I'm not 100% sure on what's to come. So I'm going to place these, and I'll let that run. We can let it run at high speed. Alright, so we'll pause that. There they are, and we're going to connect these. So we're going to still build more things. Perhaps at this stage we're going to build another, we will actually build another wall to help out with our front end over there, help blocking and creating different contours for the enemies to go around to make it a bit more difficult for them. As long as we have enemy, they will try and attack the enemy first, and then the objects. All right, so let's go into wiring mode. Here's our latest one. So we're going to take the last connection and put it against our gather unit. The first connection, we're going to say, let's connect it right away to our assembly depot, and we'll make sure that actually the other two are connected to the foundry and to the elemental depots. Alright, so at least now I have the connections happening with those three right away, and whatever I decide to do, at least they'll be ready to connect to the next ones. I'm not going to add any more generator units at this point. Like I said, what I will do after a few different waves is I'll cache in for some higher technology. So with my 3, I should be good for some more advanced elements right now. And again, I will have to obviously reconnect one of those generators to the wall when I'm making new structures. So that's taken care of. I'm going to build another wall to help out in that area at the top, as I said. Originally, I did mention I wanted to build a military unit depot, but again, I'm not 100% sure on what's going to come. I believe it's 2 defenders, so 2 on 2. If I create the military unit depot, I might not have enough time for the next cycle to build my any more defenders to help fend this off. So that's why I think I'll hold off doing that right away, and just to slowly observe how the recogs are coming at me based on my new things that I've created. But I will add a new wall, so we're going to do that one. While I'm waiting for the cycles to happen, I will prepare myself for a second wall. So we're going to go into the industry structure, and we're going to see what does it take to build more walls. Here we need a we're down here. We need 3 alphoids. There's some alphoids, betoids. We need deltoids. We have enough. Epsiloid. we have 21. Yttrinium is 1 and uretite is 4. So we actually have enough to build perhaps even 2 walls. So let's do that. Let's queue up our walls. Let's go into the elemental depot. And we're going to queue up our pieces for, let's do 2 walls at one time right now. And after I do the 2 walls, I will wait for that wave and see what's to come. So collector, let's do it twice right away. Receptor. Receptor. Let's do that one twice. Then we have our P-trans energy field. And we'll add 2 of those. And our protector plates. And we'll add 2 of those. Small oid frame. We have our high grade oid frame. And we have our bonding agent. Oid bonding agent. Lastly, we have fortified bonding agent, which is our gateway and structural. Gateway structural binding agent. And energy fortification. One piece that we'll find in our Foundry Depot. Alright, let's unpause, let that run. So here you can see we're creating some structural barriers to create some little pathways. We're going to force the enemy to go a certain way in order to get exactly where we want them. We're almost done with this. So right away, since we're already connected, I don't need to switch again now with my generators. I already have the assembly ready to go. So I'm just going to get the last pieces here. This is the panel. P-trans panel, remember doing 2, so there's 2 at a time. Protector plates. We'll do 2 at a time. Oid frame, we need 1. Small oid frame. And fortified binding agent, we need 2. And let's unpause, let that run. And last one, we will need to connect using the wiring mode. It doesn't matter which one we take off. Let's remove the assembly and we'll put it in our wall. We have our industry mode, and let's queue 2 structural barriers. And there they are. In our storage, we have our 2 structural barriers. So we're ready to go. The moment they're queued, by the way, or sorry, the moment they're processed, each time, no matter what it is, each time it's processed, the threat of the enemy is greater. So don't think that just because it's processed, nothing more is going to come to you, or don't think that if you just dig out the whole terrain and you know all your collectibles are floating around, don't think that nothing is going to come or nothing will start amplifying as far as the recogs go. They understand if you dig, then all of a sudden you're going to have it. Especially if you grab some of the more rare ones, the threat does increase as you go, because they know you're in the process of building, so they're getting themselves ready as well for their counter-strike. So I'm going to place these. I have 2 structural barriers. I'm going to place them to help out with my configuration here. I'm going to have them get a little bit of a run for their money. So you can see here I have it even blocked on the side, so I'm going to put that one over there. and that'll allow it really to have one entrance from above, and I'm actually going to even put it here so it blocks off that angle coming in. So I'm really trying to guide them in a certain way so that I'll be ready for them. All right, so that's going to be that, and they'll be in here ready to go. What I'm actually going to do also is bring in those defenders afterwards. So I'm going to leave them at the top just so you can see what's going to happen, and I'll see what happens at the same time during an air battle as opposed to down at the bottom. So I'm going to let that run. I'm at cycle 17. I'm actually going to make my way right to the top. Let's have them collect at the same time while they're at the top, actually. I'm going to make my way to the top, like I said, but I'm going to have these units collecting a little bit until their cycle, until the cycle gets close, because there are some things that they can do as opposed to just having them wait around. If you know already what you'd like to do, like I said, I'm sort of taking my time with this and going slow, step by step. If you want to advance really quick, if you want to prepare yourself, go right ahead. But like I said, you might not know what's going to come, and you might not be that prepared for it. So while they're doing that, I'm going to make my way to the top. I do not have the technology to know exactly what's coming right away, so I'm giving myself the heads up here. So we're going to let that run. While that time is going, I'd like to take a few seconds here to explain a little bit about some of the descriptions. So let's get to our defender here. Alright, so defenders are the first line of the military drones. They've been developed on Earth and deployed to the far-off galaxy, tasked to protect the utility drones while the industrial development is established. Alright, and a stronger military might is forged. So they were sent out with the utility drones as the first line. But of course, the utility drones have the ability to create everything from the mainframe depository as well. With that knowledge, they are able to build the rest. So these defenders are considered even more dangerous on the offensive when grouped together. You're going to see there's some interesting skills that these defenders have that when they're grouped together and you unlock them, they're even more powerful. And if you're able to create that against the enemy, well, you'll have an easier time with those defenders. You're going to see these are some interesting skills. So keep in mind, like this description says, tasked to protect the utility drones. That's their job. That's their main job, is protecting utility drones and our first line here until we advance and build more. So they have some interesting standard numbers. XP worth at military class 4 and 5. Sorry, not 4 and 5. 4, 3, 2, and 1. So these are the XPs that you get. Class 1 is the highest. There is XP in this. They do upgrade. The more you kill, the more advanced they get, and of course, the higher their detailed statistics. This goes in the same respect for the enemy too. If you kill a class 1 defender, you get 278 for your XP, which of course contributes to your greater numbers. If you die, you lose your class. If you lose your class, when you build a new defender, you don't regain that class. The only thing you can do with a new tech that is also available for unlocking is that you already start at the next class without having to start from the first one. That would be class 3. So here we go. We're going to see if this is the one. At cycle 20, we will have 9 cycles passed, which is the start of when a wave can come. And there it is. So we're going to pause right away. Actually, it was already on pause. And we're going to see what do we get here. So let's clear that. We have two defenders right now that we have to fight off against. I'm going to keep a very close eye on my numbers here while I see about how it's coming. So I have one on the side here and one over here. So I'm going to go a little bit slower with this just to see. So I have 2 on one and another one being hit from the back. Judging by the numbers, it's going down, this one, because he's being hit twice. So we're going to see, can they manage to kill him before this one tries to get him? Let's speed up the timing a little bit if we can see how that's going. And you can see that he's going down. You tell me when you start getting worried to move him out of the way. Don't forget, we do have our tunnel at the bottom. Can he do it in time? If that turns yellow, there it is. I'm going to stop. When it turns yellow, it's up to you to risk it. I'm not going to. So I'm going to take this one, which is the one who's having a problem right now, and I'm going to retreat him slightly to see if he can regain a little bit and come back. And I'll actually bring him more towards this side, so he's away from the fight. Or he's away from him, and he'll probably try and attack the other one. He'll have a few seconds to recover and continue attacking the other way. So now it's a one-on-one, a one-on-one. Now he's getting it, so this is how we're changing the cycle. Even though it's still 2-on-1 here, that hasn't changed, but I've changed the scenario, keeping an eye on those numbers again, always remembering that you have a place to go. And of course, in the end, if you end up dying, well, you can always go back to your saves. So there it is. So now this one is going down. I'm going to play a little leapfrog and do that again. And we'll see if that works. So now he's recovered and he's going down. So again, there's all kinds of strategies you can play here with this. Again, I'm still trying to keep an eye on that 2-on-1 because he's the one I'm really focusing on right now. Numbers are going down still. The moment he's dead, he'll have a harder time to keep up. So there it is, yellow again. Let's do another leapfrog. Let's put him away. And he didn't go too far that time, so let's bring him around to the side and try again. And it's still going down. He didn't go far enough. Let's put him further away. He was still in range of him. These units shoot 2 lasers at once. So that didn't help in that respect because it was still too close to him, so he was able to have a split laser and that was still taking him down. Now he's going down. We're going to do it again. This is another kind of strategy. This is another kind of strategy as opposed to our ambushing. So we actually took him on. He's still fighting. He's still trying to find him, even though I'm kind of getting away there. And you can see that he's actually hitting him at the same time. Now they're both going down, so you can see that it's getting a little bit difficult to manage. So this was a strategy that we could try, and it's not actually working too well. Because the enemy is managing to keep up with this. And he's definitely in the red, so now that tells me that we're not going to do so well in this, and he's still holding on. I don't know how much HP he has. That is a technology we can unlock. So what I'm going to do now, instead of that, is I'm going to make a withdrawal, recover, and fight back. So this is part of the strategy of the game. There we go. So I'm going to have them recover in the back here, and we'll have him take on the front. We'll actually have them both in here. Alright, so that should be okay. And we're going to let this go. And there they are. You can see, there they are. Let's fast forward that. And so they make a mad dash. You can see them run. They're pretty quick because they were still fighting, so they had a few extra seconds to run away. And they're going to follow him. So you can see, as calming as this game is, once the waves come, that changes everything, and the pressure is on to try and win the battles. So here he's trying to fight him off at the same time. They're going to prepare themselves. So here's one really important step. As soon as they're in place, I must do one thing first. As soon as they're in place, Alright, so there they are. As soon as he's in place, you can see how many seconds he has left to get there. 2, 1, 0. That's it. So he's in place. And what I'm going to do right away is halt them. So I'm going to click on him and I'm going to halt. That will stop him from moving. He'll lock himself in position. And there's the other one who will also stop there. Now, actually, I want to move him. He's the one that's halted. But I want to actually bring him back in here. And halt. And that one, I want to halt there. So they're both halted. They're waiting. And there is one enemy sitting up there. And the other one is at the top waiting to come in. So now we might have a better advantage. I'm going to verify my position. Oh, sorry. So I'm going to verify. I'm going to move him one in because he doesn't seem to be doing anything. Is he fighting? Is he shooting? Hard to tell. So he's being blocked by that one. So we're going to move him over here and halt him. And let's bring him halt and halt. So I got one-on-one. A one-on-one war won't necessarily win the battle anytime soon, so I'm going to move him forward and I'm going to bring him in and we're going to halt them both. Now I can see that they're both fighting him. They're both being hit, but they're also fighting him at the same time. So this should do it. I'm going to fast forward this all the way. So you saw sometimes the aerial strategy works up to a certain point, and then all of a sudden the enemy will realize what you're trying to do, and you have to retreat. Well, retreat in the sense of going underground and creating this sort of tunnel effect by its 2-on-1s. Again, this is a strategy that won't necessarily work all the time. By the looks of it, I'm staying strong. The enemy is being hit by the two of us. So that's it for that. Once the wave is in, now you see that they've been that they're here and they're fighting. While this is going on, I don't need to just stop right now. I could actually get my utility drones to keep on building. Now, of course, that's my way out, so I can't do much in there. But if there's anything that you want to start doing now, if you feel confident that they are doing what they're supposed to, go back and keep an eye on them. But at the same time, you can look back at your industry and say, well, I'm going to use some of my cycle time, because that looks like it'll take a bit of time to see what the next step is. And for sure, one of the things we need to focus on is all these fragments that are falling. The fragments that are falling, we need to convert them into points so that we can exchange them for more pieces or upgrades and things like that. So I'm going to look into creating the depository meant for that. Which is our central reprocessing depot. The R&D exchange depot. The R&D exchange depot is the one that turns our fragments into points. That's the one we're going to use. And at the same time, I'm also going to build I'm going to build the military drone depot. So those are the two that are going to be next. Because at this stage, as I can see, with 2 units, I have a bit of a hard time. So I want to make sure that I can take that on. And it looks like we're just about done with our first defender. And we've actually gone quite a few cycles. So what's going to happen now actually is the 9 to 14 cycles for each wave will actually still happen. So once these defenders kill off the enemy recogs, it won't be another 9 to 14 where the next one comes. It'll actually have started from 20. So it is possible that in 2 cycles from now, we're going to have another one. If these aren't killed off in advance, well, I can see just one went. If these aren't killed off early enough, well, as soon as these are done, the new ones will come. They won't get stacked on top of each other, one over the other. You will have that small time to recover. Well, that's why I said it's important to really understand the enemy that comes, what it takes to kill them, how long it takes to kill them. You can see we're pretty tight here, so I definitely need new defenders. I need that military armory to come. Otherwise, if I lose a defender, I will not. I will have a much harder time in the next round. So here it is. I got one. The second one, I'll unpause that, is now being taken on by the looks of it by both of these. So that's fine. Definitely, my next step will be to build the military unit depot. Once this is done. So while that's going on, I know they're going to take them on. They will win the second round. Let's get down there back to our bottom. And you notice that there's this red border that goes around. That tells you that there's still a fight happening. As soon as that red border disappears, I know I'm good. So I won't... I'll pause it now actually and prepare myself for the next one. I won't worry too much about that at this stage. So by the looks of the video, I'm already pretty well... advanced in terms of time, so I'm going to stop it here. As you can see, this one was pretty much about building and defending ourselves. Next one will be about creating that military unit depot, having a few more defenders out there, and perhaps I'll try the aerial battle again, and then I'll bring myself down. I will reconfigure that empty space, that not empty space, sorry, that little zone that I have going on here at the entrance. I will reconfigure that a little bit, perhaps, to allow for more room when I have a third defender. For now, let's just ride this out. And there you go. You can see right away. As I mentioned, 10 cycles later, the next wave is coming, and we weren't even finished with we just finished with the first wave. So if I go to the top of the screen, there's nothing there yet, but believe me, as soon as that enemy is done, they will start coming. Alright, so I thought maybe I would be able to kill them before that wave comes. That's fine. Not possible, not happening. So, but they're in a pretty good spot. They did fend off the first two, so since I didn't do anything since the last wave, I should expect a similar fight, which means they should take them on, no problem. But again, as I'm building the next one, that might change things. Alright, so I'm going to pause this now. I'm going to save the game, and we'll see you on the next video where we will continue with this, building that military unit depot, and sending some more defenders out there to help the fight.